What's everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happen? You guys know who this is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. The podcast, Rolling Stone magazine says, initiates profound discussions with rock and metal artists, allowing fans to discover the creative workflow of their favorite musicians and understand the factors that make the band succeed or fall from fame. We are also sponsored by Dark Fusion Systems, the best for your custom computing needs. Get $100 off your entire bill. Code CVPod at darkfusionsystems.com. Link in the podcast below. Now let's go to our feature presentation. Over in Switzerland, there is a brand new band that a Rising Empire signed called Vicious Rain. They have a brand new called There Is Beauty in Letting Go coming out on October 11th. We talk about how their sound just comes together naturally from so many different creative angles, how they make the sound, how the vocals bounce off each other from unclean to clean with two different members, and are they going to cover Disney songs in metal styles? Oh boy, you guys ready? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. You know how many bands we've brought on from the record label Rising Empire? Way too many at this point, but it's because they keep signing, keep finding, and keep promoting many great bands on the heavy side of music. And today, coming all the way from Switzerland, we have one that fits in that perfectly with their alternative metalcore style, but still incredibly heavy at the exact same time too. Do not get me wrong. Have a brand new album called There Is Beauty in Letting Go coming out on October 11th. There are 7 singles out before the album releases. And if you haven't listened to them yet, go listen to them literally right after this and then get ready for the next 3 and then where this band is going to go in the future because it's going to be a fun ride. So please welcome David and Mauro from the band Vicious Rain to the podcast. So gentlemen, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Man, thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us. Whoa.
Hey, thanks for being on, guys. It's always an absolute pleasure to bring on bands from a Rising Empire because I'm always just amazed at what the hell is going on over there in Europe, especially here being in the United States. The creativity that is going on over there, especially on the heavy side of things, is absolutely insane. So whenever I see, hey, there's a new band from Rising Empire, you want to check them out? Immediately, I'm just like, yes. Let's make this happen.
That's a good sign, actually. That's a very good sign.
So you guys are definitely in good company because I should have had a list of like all the bands I've interviewed from a Rising Empire, and it's just I completely always forget to do that because it's like probably at least 15 or 20 deep at this point.
Easy.
Yeah, we're in good company, man. It's really like the label we would have wanted to be on. Like it's we got to be on it, so it's the dream label for us.
Yeah, that was a dream come true for us, signing to Rising Empire.
All right, let's dive deep into that dream, though, because I know you guys, I looked at the history of the band, formed in late 2022. We're into later 2024 right now. This is like a 2-year thing, and you're already signed to your dream label, A Rising Empire. So how did this whole thing come into play, not only forming the band, but then getting to sign with The Rising Empire before the release of your first album?
You want to go ahead, Mauro?
Should I? All right. Well, where should I start? Before we started the band, like we all had like old bands we played in. Like we've been doing bands for a long time now, and for me, my old band, we always wanted to get signed by Rising Empire. If I'm completely honest, just because they always had like all these bands I was into when I was like younger and stuff. I think they had While She Sleeps one time for a short period and stuff, right? So I always knew, man, I want to like, I always thought like, well, if you're at a Rising Empire, you made it, you know? It was like my young me thinking that. And yeah, when we started this band, Vicious Rain, we just like, to be completely honest, we didn't have like any expectations or like any plans with the band beforehand. We were like, okay, let's just write music that we like and just see where this goes. And actually we wanted to, we had our first single, The Devil and Lovers. We wanted to release that independently first. But while we were planning to release that independently, we got in talks with the Rising Empire and they were like, hey man, yeah, we want to work with you. And we were like, what? And I think that was the moment we were like, all right, let's get this train going. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, I mean, it was surprising because, being in bands and playing music for such a long time, you always reach out and you ask labels or promoters for a collaboration, and you always get the same kind of answers like that. Yeah, not at the moment, or maybe the sound doesn't fit. But
Yeah,
there was
which is
actually a
totally
conversation
fine,
going on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
of course, yeah. But we were like super hyped because there was already a conversation going on. Like they were asking us questions, and we were like, "Damn!" Like that. It's for the first time. It's not a straight up no. And then when we got the offer, we were super hyped, man. Like it was
Yeah.
it was
And we
crazy.
had only like 2 songs written and like recorded at that time. Um so yeah, when we signed, we were like, all right, let's do a record, let's do a full album. And yeah, I think that's when we were like, okay, we need to get this train going with a higher pace than before. Because before we were like, we didn't even announce the band yet before we signed to the label. So we were like straight new. First post was, hey, we wish this rain. We signed to a Rising Empire. This is our first single, and I think it did pretty well for a band that no one knows at that time.
Well, for being a band that no one knows at that time, especially if your first single is going to be put out by a rising empire, it's going to be something that's going to have that connection to a lot of people in their brains where, hey, if a rising empire is behind this band, it's going to be quality. Because Mauro, like you said, I mean, they've had a lot of great bands on as a sign before. Like they've had While She Sleeps before, and look at what While She Sleeps is. Of course, over in Europe, they're massive. They're a lot bigger than they are over here in the US, but that still stands to reason they're super big over there. I've had bands on from a rising empire, even the ones that have signed from the US, like Of Virtue and For the Fallen Dreams.
Yeah.
Future Palace. Always love having Maria on the podcast too. She's been on twice.
Yeah, they're cool.
And then I know with even with the song Hysteria, which I know we'll talk about, you have Half Me featured on there, and I had Half Me on the podcast last year.
Yeah, cool.
So it's like I always end up picking up on these. I'm like, I want these. I want to listen to them. I want to try some of these and always see what happens because, again, when people think of the label, especially in the heavy music scene, they think quality. They think this is going to be good. And when a brand new band gets announced, like you guys did, through a rising empire, but then your first thing gets published through them as well, it's going to already draw a lot of attention and much more attention than if you would have put it out independently because there's already that built-in infrastructure of fans for you to go and listen and have them listen to what you have.
Yeah, and even for us, it was a good boost for us, like that they dig the songs, like they listened to it and they were like, hey man, we like what you're doing, and I think we were pretty happy to hear that.
I would be too, especially the fact that, you started out this and it was just guys from different bands, you'd been trying this for so long and you came into this just on a creative side, didn't expect this to really go or didn't have any expectations of where it was going to go. You probably wanted to go to this point in time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
From the beginning of it, like you said, reaching out to these labels prior, it's you see the conversations the way they go. But the fact that right away you guys had just had, you said, recorded 2 singles and they were already digging them and were already trying to figure out how to get you guys on the label. That's something that is absolutely insane. Even though you guys had been around for so long as musicians, with this collective, just that to happen like that, that's a lightning in the bottle moment that not many people ever get in life.
Yeah, I mean,
you got it, man.
Yeah, you got
exactly.
it. No, I think like we're very thankful for that opportunity they gave us and still giving us. But I think even if we didn't sign to them, I think we would still like I know us as individuals, and every time we say like, yeah, let's do this easy, let's go a bit easier on things, we start working like horses again, So like we live in a good in a good world right now where you as a band you don't really need a label like to get your music out there. For example, Paleface from Switzerland, I think they're signed to a digital label only, but I think they're doing pretty much almost everything DIY for as far as I know, and like that's impressive even for us as Swiss bands to finally see that like Swiss bands get little bit of recognition in the like metal hardcore scene and stuff. Yeah, because before that we had like Breakdown of Sanity, for example. Don't know if you know them, but they were pretty big. Of course, we have Elevati and all the other metal bands and stuff. Yeah, but it's cool that like they listen to our music. They were like, all right, let's give these guys, let's work with them. Let's give these guys a chance. And yeah, we took that.
I kind of think what you brought up with, now especially there's bands in Switzerland that are finally getting the recognition, especially on the heavier side of music. In the 5.5 years I've been doing this, and of course, studying the music industry, seeing where it's gone, especially on the heavy side of things, especially over in Europe too, from the United States perspective at least. There are times where it's like, okay, we know we're the hotbed, especially for a lot of these heavier acts. We know Germany is going to produce a lot of this stuff. We know we're going to get a lot of great stuff from the UK as well. We know if we want to go for that like black metal, death metal stuff, let's go up to the Scandinavian countries because they're going to have stuff like that in droves. But what I've noticed, especially with heavier music, is all it ever takes is like one band to really pop off and get a good amount of recognition in a country, and then more focus goes in on there. Think about France with Gojira. Especially now, it's like how many French bands are going to get that positive uplift because of what Gojira did at the Olympics and how people are going to be taking to it. On top of it, with you guys right now in Switzerland, look at Paleface, perfect example, where over here in the US too, they're getting a lot of recognition. They're getting a lot of positivity.
That's fucking amazing.
And they're headlining a tour over here next year, which I hope you guys end up getting put on at some point.
Not,
just like
would be cool. I mean, I think Australia is another very good example.
Oh God, yeah.
Where like you had like I don't know, like you had like Parkway Drive, and then like North Lane, In Heart's Wake. You had the Amity Affliction, and Plodding. You name it. Yeah. There are a lot of bands, and I think they always make it because like bands get bigger and they take like other Australian bands on tour with them to Europe and American stuff. And I think like that sums the scene very good up, like helping each other, supporting each other. And yeah, I think it's good that there's some light now over Switzerland.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because I was thinking about Australia last year when Parkway Drive did a headline tour through America. The bands they had on that were North Lane, Amity Affliction, and Make Them Suffer. So that's all Australian bands right there.
Yeah.
And even talking with Lochi from Alpha Wolf, it was very similar to that. Talking with the guys from In Heart's Wake, it was very similar to that, where it's like they're kind of forced to band together because they're so isolated in that corner of the world that when they finally get to go and break out, they want to take their friends with them and all the bands with them that they grew up around and see what happens. Because if one band ends up really succeeding, there's a chance for so many others to succeed too, because people aren't just going to gravitate to one band and that's it, or one artist and that's it. People have a plethora of bands or artists that they absolutely love. And when they get into one, especially if they're from a different country, there's going to be this thought in the back of your head of, hey, I wonder what other music is going to be coming from that country if they're able to produce that. So with Paleface really popping off, it's like perfect time for you guys to release an album because people are focusing on that. People are down with Paleface Swiss right now. You guys come out with this, and it still absolutely fits in with what people would be anticipating, especially from like after a Paleface album. But at the same time, it's something new, it's something different, it's something completely fresh. But it's not that massive jump where it's like going from something that's absolutely brutal and heavy to a super ballad song singing about, living on the frontier and my dog and drinking a beer. So it's something that's incredibly cool. And I love the fact that once again, you guys are getting such an opportunity, but it all is based off of who you guys are as people and based off of the quality of music you make. And when it comes to cultivating the sound you guys did with Vicious Rain, because it has to come from a multitude of different places, because there are some incredibly heavy parts in there. There's some incredible melodies and melodic flows that absolutely take these songs into different areas. And then some of the programming aspects on it create such an ambient feel at times to really open up the songs while mixed in with such heaviness. So how did you guys come up with this sound that is Vicious Rain?
I think it just came naturally, man. Like, we never really have a certain style in mind when we write, right, Mauro? We just write songs that we want to write, we want to play. we take inspiration from what we're listening to, and of course we all listen to heavy music, but each of us we all listen to all different kinds of music, and I think that's just what happens, man. Like we just take all the inspiration that we have in our lives and the music that we're listening, and we put that all together, and it just happens naturally. We're not even really thinking about what we're trying to do, right, Mauro? Or would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. Like usually we don't sit down and be like, all right, let's write a song that sounds like that, you know. Um, like usually like it starts from a riff or just a chorus idea or something, and then Tris, our other guitar player, and I like we sit together and we try some riffs, and or he just sends me like riff ideas and stuff, and I'll sit behind the computer and be like, all right, let's make a song out of it. And then we get everyone in the band together, like their perspective, their ideas. Maybe you start writing something, and if you're spending too much time on a song, like I don't know, you get a bit like close-minded on the thing sometimes, and you need like like all the perspective and feedback from others. Yeah, and then our drummer, like when a song is almost finished, our drummer goes, does his drum things. We sit together again and check if they're cool or not, stuff. And yeah, and to end the process, Dave and I, we get together, we write some lyrics, and then we demo them.
I think after the 5.5 years of doing this and asking questions similar to that, the answer that you guys both gave me is making me rethink how to ask that question completely. Just because it makes a lot of sense. You're not trying to be like, oh, I don't make a sound that sounds like this. You're not trying to go for that. You're just going to do what comes naturally. And you're not going to plan out a sound. It's just going to be where everything comes from within you, not only from you, David Remar, but the other guys in the band as well. What influences you have, what you guys like to listen to, what sounds and other genres are you really connecting with? And when you're trying to amplify those messages or those feelings, those emotions through your music, you might pick up on some of those, tweak them a little bit so it fits in with an idea that you're working with. So it adds that different feel overall and adds that different concoction of many different influences to become what is the Vicious Rain sound. So I don't think I can ask anymore like, how do you guys make this sound? Because it's something that just comes naturally.
It's a good question. You know what? Like sometimes even when we're like rehearsing or like for shows and stuff, sometimes like our drummer or bass player or guitar Tris or other guitar player, like they play stuff and we'll be like, what was that? And they like, I don't know, just like doodling around, and we'd be like, okay, let's record this with a phone. And then we come back together a few weeks after that and just like, I like that, let's record that. And then we just go like, what suits best for that riff, or or for like a drum beat. Sometimes it's just like a beat and you'll be like, I like that, let's just record some drums first and see where it goes, man. Yeah, it depends how we feel, I guess. Sorry, like go ahead.
It's also it's also different with every song, right? We sometimes we go into the studio with a demo song and it just turns out almost exactly like we wrote it, and sometimes we go into the studio and we rewrite the whole thing and we come up with new ideas together with our producer, and it's just different with every song. And I think at least for us, we really try to not force anything. We just want to write what sounds good to us,
I think like we had one song, Play Pretend. And the demo sounded like really, really different than the finished song. And we came with the song that we thought was finished to our producer, Manuel Renner from Evil Alarm Studios. And he was like, hey man, I listened to the song. I'm hearing something different. Can I try something and show it to you guys? I know like the guys were like, yeah, let's go. And I was like, I spent so many hours on that song. But I was like, all right, like go ahead, I want to listen to it, And I think that was a lesson learned, because sometimes you have to just put yourself aside a bit and just listen to someone else's idea or stuff, because like the idea he had ended to be like the finished song, and if I listen back to it now, I'll be like, it's so much better. But I never envisioned the song to sound like that, not that the other one was like not good, or like the previous demo was not good or stuff, but it was just another, like it was a really another song. But he brought something out that we're all like in the studio, like scratch that, we'll do that, we'll go that route. And yeah,
You see, you guys.
it just depends how we feel on that day.
I guess at the end of the day, there is beauty in letting go.
Yeah,
There is. Oh, that is
No.
good.
Oh.
I feel like a Family Guy episode. We're like, he said the title in the episode. He said it. He said
That-
He said the
that
thing.
that
Yeah.
was planned.
he was planning that for at least a minute. You could just see the look on his face, just like
He was waiting for me to
I'm
stop
waiting for
talking.
this
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah. No, I'm reading the script.
Hey, at least someone's finally reading the script I sent him. Jeez, I wish more people would do this.
Wait a minute, we've got a script.
Yeah.
Scripts in the mail, Mauro. You'll get it on Thursday.
Oh.
Wait, today is Thursday. We're recording this. What the? It didn't come by the day. I'm gonna blame the
Something
U.S.
is
Postal
wrong.
Service for that one. So you only send hard copies here. No emails. Just straight up pen, paper, handwrite
old
them.
school, man.
Oh yeah, I got even
You wrote-
highlighted too.
You wrote both of the scripts, like handwritten. Like you wrote it twice. It's it.
Oh no, I'm going back with those devices they use in like the 1700s, where you had one pen here and you had another pen like tied onto some contraption, so when you actually put it down, it actually would write it out too. We're copying it, pre-industrial revolution days here.
I would be down.
Oh,
would be
it's,
fun.
I do hope that like at some point in time there's some weird like documentary around this, or like a little like TikTok short where all of a sudden you guys are like playing the demo, and all of a sudden your producer comes in, hey, I got another idea for this song I think can make it better, and all of a sudden everyone's just like, yeah, and then you look at Mauro, it's a huge record scratch, and then it goes into like a confessional from a reality TV show where he's like, I can't believe he said that. I thought this song was perfect the way it is. I put so many hours into it, and then go to the end of it and be like, this is much better.
Dude, that would be
Exactly.
a cool idea for content. Let's be honest.
Man. Yeah,
They should
we should
train
do like a
reality
reality show
TV.
based on
Man.
based on our band.
Or just like a full reality show, like a documentary reality show based on the record, but it's basically you, or like the making of the record, but it's you guys just going back and reenacting everything. And if it's right, if it's wrong, no one knows. It's just you guys having a blast with it.
Cool. That's sick.
Oh man, yeah.
We're not
That's
keeping
really
up.
dope.
We're not keeping up with the Kardashians. It's keeping up with Vicious Rain, or
Yeah.
or before you know, we're gonna go back to like 2009, 2010. We're gonna put you guys all in a beach house. It's gonna be the Vicious Rain Shore over here.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
oh shit!
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah, Dave is already
we're
planning
just here
everything.
to
in his-
have a good time. We're here to party, and Mauro, it's all about let's write songs. I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that. I'm just about the
I'm
blez.
just here for the
The-
great time.
I'm here for the blez, the babes, and the great time. That's it. Get me a beer. Before you know it, you guys are gonna have the hottest reality show in Switzerland, and then it's gonna come over to the U.S. Everyone's gonna be like, "Who is this Vicious Rain band, and
Rain,
why
yeah.
is there a reality show about them?" It's like, yeah, it's the spoof reality show. You ever seen the movie Scary Movie? This is exactly what it is for a reality show, except a metal band decided we're gonna do that instead.
And now streaming on Netflix.
Maybe Netflix, or what happens if Amazon Prime picks it up first, or Hulu. You might get exclusives from them. I'm not sure if you'll get an exclusive from Disney Plus for that, but you never know at this point.
100% no.
You never know, man.
Hey, you never know. They bought Star Wars. They bought Marvel. I mean, they put out the Deadpool movie, so it's possible now.
Yeah.
Did
Maybe
you
you'll
see
buy
that they
our band.
released?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that they released like a punk rock album with Disney songs? Were like
Yeah.
Yellow Card, New Found Glory, and stuff, like some old punk rock bands. Like
Yeah, it was like the Pop
covered
Goes
Disney.
Punk. It was the Pop
but
Goes Punk.
Disney song.
but
You know what?
Punko's
Like, I
Disney.
would be totally down to do something someday. I would love that.
I'm just wondering what
That'd be
song
great.
what song would you guys end up trying to do if that was the case, where it's like, alrighty, it's just rain to sing a
probably
Disney
a
song.
High School Musical song.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
You know,
Like,
now
we're
I've
going-
got you, Dave, right?
Yeah. I love the High School Musical soundtracks, man. They're so good, especially from the second movie. They're all bangers.
Well, I
Let's
know
cover the whole album.
Yeah.
Well, I know this is going to start all of a sudden, it's 2024 right now. There's a Beauty and Letting Go. Will come out October 11th. At some point in 2025, a Rising Empire and you guys are going to come up with an announcement that says we're releasing There Is Beauty and Letting Go deluxe version. And there's going to be at least 2 Vicious Rain covers of High School Musical on the deluxe edition.
I'm already writing that as an idea right now.
I would absolutely love to see it. I'm not, when it comes to getting the rights to the music, I'm not, or like to actually cover it, I'm not sure how that all works. But I know Disney is rather protective of that stuff. But hey, if they end up putting out something like that where they have a bunch of like pop punk bands end up doing it like they did back in the day in like, mid 2010s. I say back in the day, that was like 10 years ago. Jeez,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it like that. My
You're
God.
old.
Or the fact that a band like Ice Nine Kills can put Disney characters on their shirts and somehow not get sued. I think you guys can make this happen.
That would be amazing.
Hope so.
I mean, I think they need they need a heavier album with heavier songs covered like Disney tracks. I think that would do pretty good. I'm just throwing that out there in the world, just maybe
Just
one
Disney,
day.
if you're listening,
Just throwing that out the world, but to the mouse and to Mr. Bob Iger, the current CEO of Disney, you might want to listen to this. But if you do this, Vicious Rain's gonna have to be on that album, and they're gonna have to cover at least one song from High School Musical.
100%.
Either the movies, and you can pick one, 2, or 3. Doesn't matter. Like, let David pick his absolute favorite, or maybe 2.
Yeah, he
and just
can,
let
he
it
can
run.
pick his favorite. Yeah.
Or
if
how
you're
about
listening, it's info@viciousrain.com. Just in case.
just in
Disney,
case?
the ball's in your court.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna throw the mouse head shaped ball right into your court. I'm
Awesome.
hoping you guys pull that off. But of course, beyond that, there still is the release of There's Beauty and Letting Go coming out on October 11th. You guys have released
All right.
7 singles so far off of it, and including one today that we just heard literally maybe 2 to 3 hours before we hit the record button on this, which is still wild to me. But so far, before the album is fully dropped, with the singles coming out, what has the reception been like from fans that are just discovering this brand new band?
I think people like it, man. Like, of course, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not going out of our ways to write something that's never been written before, like in the sense of style. But I think people that like this kind of music really dig the songs, or at least that's what the reception's been like. Yeah.
Yeah, I find it very cool to see. Like, I know I should stop at one point in time, but I'm going over like every YouTube and like social media comment of like every or socials, and what I like to read is like when people they what's it called?
Like
fuck, I just,
praise
I'm
or
having
or
I have
criticize.
a brain freeze. No, they now I've got it. They're comparing us to other bands that we love and like, like, oh God, they remind me of this and this and that and that. And I'll be like, I don't hear it, but if you hear it, I fucking love that,
Yeah.
So like overall, what I read, it's like very positive. People seem to like the music, and like we're very grateful for that.
So what are some of the wildest comparisons you've seen up to this point while you're scouring Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and whatever other social media platforms there are out there? Maybe someone made like a Tinder profile for Vicious Rain just so they can like swipe right and listen to your music.
The
Actually,
other
I think
day,
the funniest.
Oh, yeah.
funniest thing, comparison wise, is when people, I don't know why, but people really like to, if they see a music video and and they just they just wanna be like, oh, that guy looks like this guy. Like there's
Yeah.
just because someone is having a like someone for example, I do have a mustache and people are always like Pedro Pascal or like
Yeah, that's a wild one. But I'll see
yeah,
it. I'll see it.
okay.
They're not wrong,
But
man. They're
like people
not
just really
wrong.
like, oh, okay, maybe maybe you see it. I don't. But like people are always like, oh, he's wearing a beanie. Like this celebrity is always wearing a beanie. Like he's on guitar. I always find it funny that people going out of their way to to draw a comparison like from the like how the band members look. Um, but music wise,
I think the other
think
day
of the
I
wildest one.
saw someone like commenting, oh man, they just sound like Era. And like I don't hear it,
Yeah,
but this
not at
guy was
all.
like, "Oh, I love your band, love your music. You guys remind me of Era." But like that's a good thing. Yeah, I didn't read something. I was like, gosh, nah, like every comparison was like that's amazing. I think someone compared like our first single, Devil and Lovers, to the Amity Affliction,
Oh.
or the other single, Play Pretend, to like Being as Notion or stuff. Like
Right.
there's some bands we listen to, like we grow up listening to that band. So if people hear something in that songs, they're probably right,
Yeah, like the funny thing is, we like you said, Mauro, when we released The Devil and Lovers, people were really like, but like I've read and I've heard people say like, oh, this kind of While She Sleeps vibe, and I don't
Yeah.
hear it at all. But I mean,
Yeah,
I
that's the
love While
wild
She
one.
Sleeps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild because we don't hear it at all. But I mean, it makes sense because we listen to that band so much, and like you just draw inspiration from it, like naturally, like you're not even like
Yeah.
trying to sound like that. But we like, of course, there's elements or like a vibe going into our music from the music that we listen to.
See, so that makes sense, and because I'm even thinking about this too from like comparisons, because that was what I was trying to do too. But I knew there wasn't ever going to be a direct comparison or even close to it from the first song I heard. I do, before I get into that, I do find it funny that they're like also coming up like, oh, after looking at the music video, this member looks like this, or this member looks like this. David, I'm kind of laughing that you get a Pedro Pascal one, especially from the mustache. To be honest with you, if it were me just looking at it right now, I'd be like, that's like heavy singing Shane Told from Silverstein with a mustache.
Oh,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
love that.
Haven't heard that one before.
and if I want to go to Mauro right now, let's see.
Now I'm curious.
Can
you think of someone like at the top of your head?
Yeah, if Caleb Shomo had a beanie obsession.
I'll take that.
All right.
Yeah.
From
the shirt on.
I'll say from this side right now, and like it really works. Yeah, but like with the shirt on too. So I'm like now if you start seeing comments in the like people saying that, it's just gonna be like, okay, this is so either I did something really good or really bad. I don't know. But jump into music. I love hearing all the comparisons too, because even I would listen through it. There's certain comparisons I could make, and there's certain ones that I would disagree with that other people have said. But that's the beauty of it, because there's so much dynamic in your music that you're able to do that. I can understand why people get While She Sleeps, though I really don't hear it. I don't hear where any of that piece could really come in there. When someone said Era, from the heavier side of things, I can't necessarily see it because I see the heavy side of you guys is much different. But for more of the choruses, especially when they're more drawn out, a little bit more melodic, I can see where the influence comes from in there. When I was listening through it, I've seen bands when they go heavy, they have a lot more of that heavier metalcore style to it, have a little bit more of the hardcore flair to it as well. and they really hone in on it. But then when you get to the choruses, they're the same way. You guys have a massive contrast in a lot of these choruses where, especially with the clean vocals, they're a little bit more melodic. They have a little bit more of this intricacy behind them and this flow that contrasts more with wherever the verses are going. There are songs where you guys have more of the flow, songs you guys have more of that straightforward speed, but it's like the straightforward speed and aggression from really good metalcore music that has a lot of that, versus the chorus that at times has more of that flow and ambience to it, like bands like Catch Your Breath have, or from Thriller Records, a new band called If Not For Me also has. But it all works in together because of these different intricacies you guys work with and influences with a lot of that programming as well, that also allows a lot of that to blend together and make a lot of sense. You go from part of the song to another part of the song. So there's a lot of ways there where your style of music and how you created this, it has so many influences in there and so many different ideas. So that's why so many people pick up on these different bands. So trying to create a for fans of for you guys might be one of the hardest things ever to do because there are so many possibilities. However, it's a beautiful thing because there are so many ideas that happen within these songs and you're never going to get the same thing twice.
That's it.
Totally.
It's like, I think I just either did something really good or you guys just like, yeah, totally. Thanks, man.
No, like,
yeah, totally. Next question, man.
no, man.
No, man, you summed it up pretty good. Yeah.
Like, there's nothing to add to it, I guess.
Yeah.
We would just destroy your statement right there.
Yeah. We're not gonna add anything to it because it was perfect the way it was.
Well, if you guys saw it, it's like, okay, let's clip that out now. First up, we're going to have a couple of clips from this episode. We're going to have the Disney clip. We're going to have the what these guys look like clip. All right, now when it comes to their music, here's a description of it, word for word. I put that in the script, guys. I mean, I had to type mine out because I sent you guys the original handwritten and handwritten copies. So I had to have mine typed out fully. Incredible inefficiency on my end. Jeez, no wonder why I don't sleep enough at night. but again, it's just something that's absolutely beautiful that so many people are picking up on so many different influences from you guys, and they see how these things come together because bands that have done that, bands that have taken all these different ideas from so many different walks of life, so many different walks from the music industry, and brought them together and create their own sound off of it naturally. Those are the bands that continue to expand and also have this freedom to not stay stuck in a certain box and go further. Take a look at a perfect example of that. Go to England, Bring Me the Horizon. They went from literal deathcore to now
they're doing everything. Yeah,
they can do whatever they want. They still go heavy at times. They still go the metalcore route. They've done hyper pop. They've done ambient music too.
An ambient record. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but it's still Bring Me the Horizon. So
yeah, I always love that when you can when you notice the handwriting. Like you can notice the. It doesn't matter what genre they play. You just notice, that's a Bring Me the Horizon song. I love that.
I think I'm gonna have to start using that as the way to describe it. It's like when it comes to a band and they have a sound that it's like when you listen to it, they can go in so many different directions, but you know it's them. It's like you can tell the handwriting of the song. It doesn't make any sense, but it also does completely make sense in my mind too.
Even I think like Ollie could sing over everything. And it would be a Bring Me the Horizon song, like because his voice is so unique that like they could do country or I don't know what, like it would be Bring Me the Horizon, and they would rock it, 100%.
Okay, well now we got to see if we just put an idea in Ali Sykes' head to write a country song.
Yeah,
it's probably already on it. I'm sure it's planned for the next album.
And it'll come right after.
I hope I'll get credits for that.
Yeah, and it'll come right after like his gigantic collaboration with Gojira. Like it'll be something heavy, then all of a sudden,
yes.
Then all of a sudden you're gonna get a country song from him, and then who knows? Maybe they'll do something with Baby Metal on the next track right after that, the next album. Once again, who knows?
Yeah.
Or Riff Raff or something like that.
Not Riff Raff, Afro Man. It'll be because they got high, part 2, but. Bring Me the Horizon doing it.
Yeah, and we're all gonna be like, "Oh my god, it's amazing!" Like, how do they do that?
or Bring Me the Horizon featuring Afro Man, the Pokemon theme song cover.
hard.
Why does it make sense?
When it comes to bands like that, you could just throw anybody with them because we've seen it in the past. It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Why? It's just gonna work. I don't know why. It's just gonna work.
It just works.
Yeah, they probably have like a thing. They were like going, all right, genre, featuring artist, and then I don't know, album title. They're just going completely. They just use it. They just choose it randomly.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's like John, like you just hit a button, it's like a randomizer. You just see like a slot machine. It's just like bing, 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 and you got to find something that matches it. Next thing you'd see like female vocalist, pop. Also had a song in the movie Titanic. It's like
Exactly.
alrighty, someone's feature was Celine Dion. Now let's see how this is gonna go. Hey, you never know. If you guys can find that slot machine, steal it for yourselves, and just start using it, you guys are gonna get some of the most insane collaborations that make sense. Even though they don't make sense, but make sense. I gotta see it. Like you guys did with Half Me on Hysteria. Now that one makes a little bit more sense to me and how it worked after listening through the song. But again, it's still, in my opinion, worked out incredibly well, especially with the fact that you had not only David, your unclean vocals that have a lot more of a deeper tone versus, I cannot remember the guy's name from Half Me because his unclean vocals have a little bit of
Chris,
yeah, just a tidbit higher, so you see the drastic difference in there when you see them compared against each other. But then Mauro comes in for the chorus and has that cleaner vocal style that just flows right across everything like a nice calming wave over the ocean with the accenting uncleans. It's just like, how is this all being put together? But when you mix those three different voices and consistently through the rest of the album too, your two voices in with the music, it creates this whole different dynamic that had been a very prominent, especially in like the metalcore area around like 2010. But you're not really seeing the dual vocalists as much now as you had in the past. But with you guys using it, it still stands out because you're able to amplify each other's strengths through the contrast of how your vocal tones are.
Yeah, that's a cool topic. I think that's like we have a lot of more options. There is the word. We have a lot more options because we're like both singing on the record, and we even have songs like where Dave is singing like clean, as we say, like he just sings, is not like shouting and stuff. And there are parts where I'm like shouting and yelling in the record, and yeah, I think that's very refreshing if someone listens to the record. Like even our first song that is going to be on the record starts like with Dave singing clean. Like it's not me singing, it's Dave. And I think they're very cool. So people, if they listen to the record, like there's not just one voice or two voices because they can hear like the spectrum what like Dave can do and what I can do. And I think that's that could be a very like a plus point for us. And yeah, we don't want to be like, all right, Dave, you're just here to scream and I'll just sing. We'll just do whatever the vibe is. Sometimes Dave comes and he's like, man, I like what you wrote here. Can I sing that? And I'll be like, yeah, of course. Or I'll go with, hey man, I think my voice would perfectly fit in this part if I'll shout them because I have a higher voice than David. Like David can do everything. But yeah, and I think that is very refreshing, and I hope like people enjoy that.
Yeah, I think there's really like there's a song for everyone on that record. Like I think like the whole album has a certain vibe and a certain sound, but I don't feel like the songs sound a lot alike, if that makes sense. Like we have Blackout, which has this industrial sound and vibe to it. There's Play Pretend that is really melodic, as well as there's Building and Letting Go, the title track, and there's different vocal styles on it, and also with Hysteria that has which has Chris on. Like there's something for everyone, and all the different tastes in music and also vocally.
Yeah, and even speaking of Hysteria, like I remember when we David and I, like the whole band, we're like big fans of Half Me, like even prior to signing to Rising and stuff. Like I don't know if David sent like a song of them, or like I discovered them. I don't remember, but like I know when we played Summer Breeze Festival with them together last year. Prior to that, we were like, man, this band rips. Like they're just so good, you know. And when we were riding Hysteria, I remember we were like a few minutes into the song, and I know like Dave and I, we both we were like, all right, like we didn't write the song to be like a feature song, but it just came naturally. We were like, all right, I can hear Chris's voice from Have Me Here. Like
Yeah.
that would be the
It
perfect
just made
spot.
sense.
It
Yeah.
just like, yeah, like, you know, sometimes you're writing stuff and you hear something that is not on it. And that was one of the rare moments where like we both were like, mate, I can hear him. And then we both like, we have to ask him if he's down to do it. And yeah, we were very, very glad that he said yes, because I think he made the song better.
And that's all just from the natural progression of the song and you guys working through this together. Like you said at the beginning of the episode, when I asked about like how you make this sound, it all comes naturally. You're just going to let these things flow themselves and create themselves with you in the driver's seat. So, you know, when you're playing these songs, all of a sudden, hey, this song would sound good with Chris from Half Me on there. It works. Or the song would sound perfect if you had David's clean voice, or if you had Mauro shouting over here. You have the freedom to play within that, and that just adds more ideas and more possibilities to what you guys can do with Vicious Rain as time goes on. What you can do with the sound, where you can explore these ideas, and how can you bring out these different feelings and emotions overall, not only vocally, but also from the instrumental standpoint and the production standpoint, because you're able to play with so many different styles of voice. There's a lot of bands out there where it's, you know, they have a vocalist or two and they have such different strong points, which is fantastic because you can maximize out on those, but it might limit the potential of where you can go because you don't want to go away from those strengths if it's going to show like a sound that's just not necessarily going to be there to work with exactly what you're trying to work for. So it makes a lot of sense, and you guys being able to pull that off is great. It still allows the songs to have that Vicious Rain signature on there, even as the sounds continue to evolve over time and the songs evolve in different ways, where these aren't going to sound exactly the same, but it's still going to have that little signature on it where you know this is Vicious Rain.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to what suits the song best, you know. Like sometimes we both record a part and stuff, and we just pick like what we think fits the part or the song better. So yeah, that's very cool to play with.
Well, I've got another question for you guys. So right now, when it comes to There's Beauty in Letting Go, there are 7 songs that are out right now. There are 3 that are yet to be released in Dead End, Nothing Left, and the titular track, There's Beauty in Letting Go. So instead of asking guys what's your favorite song on the record, because that's like picking your favorite child, out of the 3 songs that are yet to be released, which is the song that you were most excited for people to listen to, and why?
That's a hard question.
I know it's still not easy, but at least I'm not asking like, hey, pick your favorite out of these.
Yeah. Cut him some slack, Mauro.
Give me a little bit of credit, guys.
I'll let you decide first, Dave.
All right. Maybe for me, it's.
I don't want us to pick the same one.
Yeah, it's a little easier for me because one of my favorite songs of the album is the title track, "There's Beauty in Letting Go." So I feel like because on one hand, it's really like a song that I like. I like playing it. I can't wait for people to listen to it. But at the same time, it's the title track of the album. It really encaptures the whole album in one song. And I think that's why I'm gonna have to go with "There's Beauty in Letting Go," the title track.
Usually I would go with the same song, but to make it different, I'd go with "Nothing Left," because we have some drum and bass elements in there in the chorus. Like it's not very how do you say it?
It stands out a little.
It's if you listen to it, like I think if you get to the chorus for the first time, you'll be like, huh? what? Okay. But I like it's just it's a riffage song. There's riff, there's breakdown, there's this drum and bassy chorus. It's just a straightforward song. There's no stop. The song starts and it ends, and it's just a banger. So I'll go with that one.
There's some good choices, and well, I'm the third person in this. I'm gonna say that the one I'm most excited for people to hear is Dead End, because as you guys were talking about it, we get some clean singing from David, but also because at the same time, you guys have a little bit more of an explanation on There's Beauty in Letting Go and Nothing Left. Dead End is the mystery that everyone gets to check out right away when the album comes out. So if you like mystery and you want to try something completely new and unexpected, check out Dead End when it comes out. But then listen to the whole entire rest of the album too, because that's just smart. Let's be honest.
It is smart.
Well, guys, before we wrap this up, I have one more question I want to ask both of you. It is something I love to ask every single band I've had in the podcast. I've done this for the past year because it helps us get to know more new music and get to know the music that you love. So collectively, between the two of you, can you guys name me 3 bands or artists that you love that you would love to see more people get into right now?
It's hard to narrow it down to 3 bands.
I know. If I kept it like, hey, just name me some, it's like, hey, I could have a list of like 40, and then it gets lost up. Like, I gotta limit it to something at least.
Like, I know that they were at your podcast here a few weeks ago or a month ago, but I'd say Aurelize.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're like one of the hottest bands right now in Germany. Just to start the question.
That's a good pick, though. I think that was back in March. I think I had him on.
Yeah. Faith.
All right.
I'd say Half Me in a heartbeat, but
we already shouted them out quite.
Yeah.
I really like and love the band Vukovi from Scotland. I saw them at a festival we played at a couple of weeks ago. So I'm gonna go with them. I really dig their sound. And they're great to see live, so I'm gonna go with them.
Cool. I would go with the band Mayflower. I don't know if you heard of them. They're a band. They have no label right now, but we recorded our guitars for the record with Manuel. It's the guitar player of them, from them, and he's a very, very talented guy, and they're making very sick music. So if you haven't,
they have some
go and
huge
check them out.
songs.
Yeah.
And
he has a very, very sick voice. So if you do me a favor, go and check out Mayflower.
Say those are 3 good picks. I'd love to put Half Me in there too, but I know we talked about them multiple times.
I could name you 3 more. Like, it's so hard to pick 3. Like, I don't want to feel like I left someone out, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing though. It's like if I said, name me as many as possible, we could be here for another hour just naming bands that we like.
Yeah, of course.
And it's like, okay, we're gonna have to create a whole like database list of these. I should actually go through and create a whole database list of all the ones that I have asked already, because I can just see like the numbers of like how many just people have recommended
sheet,
who.
Yeah.
Yeah, I create a spreadsheet. You know what? I mean, I do that for work all the time. I could do that here. So
you create a dashboard like with everything on it.
Interactive dashboard, yeah. And then it's like that. I know the 2 bands would already be at the top. I just don't know who would be underneath them in what order. I just know who the 2 at the top are currently in terms of
which ones.
Both from the U.S. A band called Honey Revenge, and then a band called Archers.
Never
heard of Archers. I've never heard of Honey Revenge.
Archers is more like melodic metalcore. Honey Revenge is like modern pop punk.
Cool. I'm definitely gonna check them out.
Woohoo! Even me giving you guys suggestions to end this.
Yeah, that's how music works.
That's how music works. Yeah.
Hey.
And we can end on that jingle too. So, David, Mauro, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to be on the Chord Progression Podcast. For everybody listening, 3 things to close this out. First thing is, There Is Beauty in Letting Go. The brand new album from Vicious Rain comes out on October 11th. So be sure to go and pre-save it, pre-order it, or if it's out by the time you watch this, go and listen to the whole entire thing. Go straight to the podcast where it says Find Vicious Rain online. Links labels for like social media, for where you can stream the album, buy the album, or you can support them, get some merch, and see them live when they're playing shows. It's all down there. So go and take care of it. I got all the information. I'm Google. You just click, go, we're good. Now it's time for number 2. Guys, whenever guests on the podcast, I enjoy the podcast, I tend to make a certain promise as a way to say, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time, and I want to continue to support the band in the future. So my promise to you guys is this. When? That implies this is going to happen. We just don't know what day yet. When I get to see you perform live for the first time, I will come and find you guys. I will come give you a nice big hello, but the real promise is first round's on me.
Let's
All
go.
right. Yeah.
Let's go.
I was waiting for just like a but we just got the let's go. So we're in a good spot with that right now. And now it's time for number 3. I cannot end this episode by saying goodbye. That is way too final. I would love to have you guys back on the podcast because this conversation was great, and I got to make good on that promise. So, guys, this is not goodbye. This is I'll see you later. Well, folks, my interview with David and Mauro from the band Vicious Rain, and now it's time for Kevin's final thoughts. So, where am I going with this final thought is here. When it comes to a band like this where they just kind of got fast-tracked into this after working for so many years, where they started this band, a rising empire, a label that they'd always wanted to been on from previous projects, picked them up right away, got them out there, and are releasing their first album. They have a lot of faith in this band, and Rising Empire is not a label to mess around with because they always have great bands and great quality music to put their name behind. However, seeing what the band did, and they really have just been taking it more and more seriously, but also letting the music basically create itself from a riff, from an idea, and seeing where it goes, you're seeing the beauty that is really coming up here from this band. What you're seeing is differences in sound, you're seeing differences in style, and you're seeing the ability to try so many new things, and it comes through. Plus, you can tell these guys absolutely love doing this stuff, and they love working together, because where would we come up with a great idea of something like covering High School Musical metalcore style and actually having it be a possible thing? Beyond that, just seeing how much fun they're having with this, that means that the creative juices are consistently flowing. That means that it's not being stifled, and this band has a long, long, long way to go. So I want to thank David and Mauro for being on the podcast. Be sure to follow along Vicious Rain, links to the podcast below. Everything for social media where you can find the beauty of There's Beauty in Letting Go, again, out October 11th. Be sure to follow along with them and see them live when you get the chance. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the Chord Progression Podcast. Links in the description below. Hit subscribe right down here on YouTube. Hit the follow button on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to like the episodes as well to make sure you push in the algorithm. Find out more about Vicious Rain. Find out more about great bands right here in the Chord Progression Podcast. Thank you. And that's going to be for me, everybody. Thank you very much for listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin. And you guys want to see what's up to the big, healthy, and hearty. See ya! Yeah.